Hello and welcome to the Farmer's Kitchen. We're the farmers and this is our kitchen. You said it.
I did.
We harmonized. You know what? When we're out and about, now you know what I'm going to say. Nothing we say is scripted, but let's see if you answer this correctly.
Uh-oh.
When we're driving around and we're starving, I always want, if quick and easy food, I always want a hamburger.
That's
What do
right.
you want?
Mexican food.
Mexican food.
Yeah.
And she'll take it out of a window. She'll take it at any
will.
restaurant.
I will.
She loves Mexican food. So sometimes we're at home here and she says,
Let's make Mexican food. Tacos.
exactly. What are they?
Tacos.
Tacos. So we're going to make some tacos today. Actually, we're
Tacos.
not. But you know what? What happens if you don't have the seasonings?
You make your own.
If you don't have the store-bought, we're going to show you kind of some tricks around that. Now, if you have one of the store-bought packages, there's a tiny bit left in there because you used it on something.
Smells good.
All right, smell that. Now smell this.
Smells better.
Ah,
like it.
This is our taco seasoning mix. Also, I think we've done this on the show before, but we're going to do it again. Enchilada sauce. Make it
Delish.
right in your own kitchen. And it's usually better and fresher.
Oh, yeah.
Now, these are kind of quick and easy ways to get to where you want to be, but they're delicious. And we're going to make something tonight that I don't think we've made on the show before. We've made enchilada soup, but we haven't made taco soup.
Okay.
Now, everybody has their own version of taco soup, and I'm sure one is just as good as the other. There's no right way or wrong way, but there's our way, and this is the way we're doing it. All right, so we're gonna make taco soup. Also, oh, Nikki, wait, those are lobster tails.
Yes, they are.
Are you hootie tootie?
Not at all.
Lobster tails. Oh man, it's gonna be so expensive. $4.
Those they had marked them down because it was that date where they have to get rid of them. That's when I get them and freeze them.
You take them, you freeze them,
That's right.
you pop them in the pot before you need them in a
Right.
recipe. That's not terribly expensive. Most people think about lobsters being unattainable because of price.
Right.
That's not the case. And our shrimp from our buddy Barry, those came right out of the Gulf. They're beautiful, they're wonderful. We've got a recipe we're gonna do with that as well. Something that I've never tried before, but I have in mind
I'm
what I
excited.
wanna do there.
I'm excited.
All right, let's start our soup. And if you could cut me up an onion, that would just be absolutely wonderful. Now, when I'm cooking with onions, generally I like a yellow sweet onion. All right, I'm gonna put me a little oil in here. Now, generally when you see us sauteing with oil, it's gonna be olive oil for almost everything.
That's a lot of onions.
That is a lot of onions. I don't know how people survive without onions, I really don't.
That's right.
So we're gonna saute these onions for just a moment. Now, when you're cutting onions, a lot of people will say, well, you can take this and you can do that. There's so many old wives' tales. We put a paper towel down with water.
Didn't work.
It's supposed to come towards the water. Now, it may help some,
Sometimes they're just really strong.
but if the onions are really strong, you're gonna have a few tears.
That's right. I cried.
Are you better now?
I think I'm a little better.
All right, so we got our onions going. But you look at all these ingredients out here. We got a lot of things we're gonna do tonight. Plus, we were down south just a couple weeks ago. And we like to stop and try other people's foods and see what they have. And throughout the South, you'll find a lot of places who have a cake dedicated to, thank you very much,
Elvis,
to Elvis.
that's right.
And they'll, you know, I'm an Elvis nut. And as a kid, you know, we would take a banana and cut it and put peanut butter on it. That was every day.
Okay.
That was something we did. But you know, we actually did a peanut butter nanner sandwich on the show one
You
day.
did. You ate it.
A long time ago.
That's right. We did.
But you'll see a lot of places down south who will have an Elvis cake, which will have some sort of banana and some sort of peanut butter together.
Right.
Now, it was also rumored that sometimes he would put bacon on that. You know, why not?
Yeah.
Bacon's good on anything. But we won't say where we were, but we had an Elvis cake, and it was like, they put banana pudding on it, which kind of sopped it up a little bit. So I thought, man, we can do better than that. And not that we're competing against anybody, but I started having an idea in mind. Should we do peanut butter cake, banana icing?
Right.
And then I started thinking about chocolate fudge icing and banana cake, and she's the cake queen. So you started talking to my sister
I did.
about, tell me what you came up with the chocolate fudge icing.
All right, I called her because she's good at, she makes icing and turns it into fudge. So we had a little chat. So I took her fudge recipe that she does And we just talked about it, and we put peanut butter in it. So we added, so now we have a peanut butter taste, and we took the cocoa out. You'll see later, but it turned out, I think you liked it. You ate the whole cake.
Now, if you watched our show, one of our question and answer sessions, somebody said, what's the favorite thing you made? She makes an apple cake that her grandmother, which grandmother made that?
This is my grandmother Calicarinas.
Her grandmother made this apple cake
That you like.
that has the consistency of a brownie.
Yeah.
It's, and it was so good. And I thought, take out the apples, put in the bananas.
Yes, you liked it, didn't you?
And I thought, can the queen make it happen? And did you make it happen?
You ate the whole cake.
Oh, it's
So
terrible.
I think so.
I gained 26 pounds.
Yes, you did.
It was
Yes.
like before, after, before, after.
Okay.
I'm sucking in right now.
All right.
I really am. Okay, those beautiful onions are getting close. I just want to get a little bit of brown on them. And to me, some people say, well, go ahead and put your meat in. I don't know. I like these onions to be their own thing. Sweat out a little bit, get some of those onion sugars out there. Then you can put the meat in. To me, it's just, you get that first flavor in the pan. It's already coming out.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about our taco seasoning, which is going to go into this taco soup.
Okay.
It would make sense, wouldn't it?
Right.
When you smell that, and something I really like to do and something that you like me to do is go to a restaurant and smell something and say, okay, break it down. Reverse engineer it, if you will. So we do that a lot. So I smelled that, first thing I smelled, and I had you all smell
Right.
it, and both of you said cumin. I am, again, on a smoked paprika kick. So I took mainly chili powder, cumin, smoked paprika, oregano, garlic powder, onion powder, and a little bit of cayenne. But that's the basics for that. Now, I didn't measure it, but that's the basics for my taco seasoning. And, oh, look at those. All right, now we're gonna drop in our 1 pound of beef. Bam!
Wow.
So we're gonna go ahead and get our meat going. And I'm gonna leave some little chunks of beef in there. So, since
Smells
this is
good.
taco soup, you think we should put some taco seasoning in?
I think you should.
And generally, when you go to the store, if you don't want to make your own, generally when you go to the store and you buy a taco kit, they'll give you an ounce package. So I'm going to put about that much in there.
Oh, it smells good. There you go.
Smells good already, doesn't it? Now I'll tell you what let's do. Let's take about half of those black beans and put in here. I'm not even going to drain them.
Alrighty, about half?
We can drain them a little bit as we pour them. Tell you what, let's just pull the beans off the top.
That enough?
Let's put a little bit more. And I'm just eyeballing this. So we got our black beans.
Yummy.
Now let's put some kidney beans in there. And you can put whatever. If you wanted to put navy beans in there.
Want to grab what you want?
All right.
Good.
Now let's put some corn.
How much of that you want?
Let's do, oh no, he's touching the corn. We can't eat that now. So I'm gonna say probably around 10 ounces of each kind of bean.
This is a little over a cup.
Probably, let's put a little more corn in there.
All right.
Probably about 10 ounces of corn. That's good. And now, we're gonna put some tomatoes in there.
All right.
Let's use about half of that.
All right.
Nice, colorful, beautiful.
So I think it's about 20 ounces of tomatoes.
About 20 ounces
yeah.
of tomatoes, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Now, here's the deal. You think about the fact that your vegetables are already pretty much processed.
Right.
If you have canned your own beans and tomatoes or you put them in a can, all that you gotta do is cook for a few minutes. Now we need, you can put water in here. I use chicken broth because I like a deeper flavor. Anything that adds flavor to me is just, that's the way to go. You could use water, but we like our chicken broth. Now I'm gonna put up to 2 cups and let it cook for a while. As that cooks down, I might put a little bit more. You could also put a little bit of light beer in here, which wouldn't hurt a thing. It gives it a nice yeasty flavor. We're gonna cut up a few pickled jalapenos. Why pickle? Because they're already cooked. They have a nice taste, they're soft, and it doesn't take a long time to get all this going. And because Nikki doesn't like things real hot, we went with a mild on our peppers.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm gonna put that many in there. Oh
Got a little bit more. Is that okay?
Yes. Oh my.
Yum.
Now let's think about what happens when this is done. You put a big dollop of sour cream and some cheese, some mixed cheese on the top. Are you
That was so
kidding me?
easy.
Nothing to it.
Yes.
All right, I'm tasting it and I detect that it needs a little more flavor. So I'm fixing me a big batch here so I can just keep mixing it until I get it right. You can also take, in any kind of soup, I like and they sell Mexican brands of chicken bouillon
Yeah.
that really add some wonderful flavor. Put just a little bit of that in there. And then we're gonna make you some homemade tortilla shells. Now this is pretty common. You know something we've never done? We've always made them by hand. We've never used a press. We talked to some new friends today, and they kept talking about a press. I said, well, let's just see if we can find one. We did.
They're easy to find, yeah.
We're just gonna press them out a little bit. So I was doing a recipe one time, and had some green beans. And we had a pan. We're going to cook them for about an hour. And so I'm pulling them out with my fingers. Comments on social media. He touched them green beans with his fingers. And I'm thinking, I mean, they were so upset. I touched them, pulled them out, put them in the pan, and then cooked them at 180 degrees for like an hour.
Right.
And then I see the best chefs in the world that are preparing a plate for us.
Right.
And they sit down and they're finishing the plate with their, not their toes, their fingers, and they're bringing in, touching everything up.
Their toes?
No, they don't use their toes, they use their
Okay.
fingers. But I mean, if you've ever gone to a really fine restaurant, that chef is plating your food and he's using his fingers.
I bet he washed his hands too before he did all that, so I'm sure he's just fine.
And his feet at the same time. So anyhow, here we are to the next step. We're gonna make our own tortillas. Not hard.
Right.
Here's what you're gonna need to make your own homemade tortillas. Now, we're not gonna use masa harina here. We're not gonna use corn flour. We're just gonna use all-purpose flour. Most people have that. All you need is 2 cups of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of shortening, or in our case, we're gonna use lard, and 3/4 of a cup of water. These are so simple and so tasty. A lot of folks, if they're making tortillas, you won't see any oil at all, but I think you can put just a little bit of oil in there, just to lightly oil your pan up. You smell that soup?
It does. The soup's delicious.
We're gonna take 2 pieces of plastic, one on the bottom, one on the top. And we're gonna try to center things up here. Do the first part with our hand, and come back, and we just basically turn this, flatten it out.
That's pretty nice. Wow.
Isn't that pretty?
That is nice.
Just turn it a little bit at a time. Get it out to the edge. And they don't have to be perfect by any means. But you see it kind of coming out the end here.
That's pretty nice.
Just keep turning it. The pressure's here. All right, I'm gonna hand this to you.
That's perfect. You did good.
You peel that guy out of there and toss him in. And we're just gonna watch that. We're gonna brown it a little bit on each side.
Good job.
You don't want to cook them too long or they'll get hard. I mean, it's a quick deal. So we're gonna do this real quick. If you'll cut me some strips,
Lettuce.
some thin strips of lettuce. While you're doing that, I'm gonna give them our homemade enchilada sauce. So on our enchilada sauce, we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of masa harina. Masa harina is a field corn or maize that they grow and they treat with lime. It's kind of like there's a process involved there that's kind of like hominy, which we did not too long ago. We're gonna make a roux with this. Then you come back with 3½ tablespoons of chili powder, some salt, just a little bit of salt, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of cumin again.
Right.
And take your 2 cups of chicken broth. If it's not thickening up as much as you want it to, take we call it a slurry.
Right.
Equal parts cornstarch and water, and you can thicken that up as much as you like. So we're gonna take some lettuce, not a lot, and a little bit of cabbage for the crunch.
Yummy.
We're gonna take our fresh lobster.
Which I need to clean for you.
Now we're gonna take our mixed pieces of lobster and shrimp and put on here. So what you're gonna have here is a nice, wonderful taste of your seafood, your nice crispy lettuce. We're gonna take a little bit, why not, of our dry taco seasoning. What do you think? Now we're gonna take enchilada sauce.
Yummy.
Now you can see how thick that is. I thickened it up to my specifications. And we're gonna close that up, turn it upside down, pop it in the oven.
There's one.
All right, we're gonna pop these in the oven just for a minute, just to warm them up.
Okay,
And then we're
sounds
gonna
good.
dress them out. So here's what's going to happen. When we come back, you're going to see this bowl with some taco soup in it.
Yes.
You're going to see our beautiful seafood burrito.
Yeah, perfect.
With queso on top and chipotle mayonnaise on top of that.
Yummy.
Oh, let's do it. Food is amazing, is it not?
Yes,
Now, we had a bunch of stuff out in front of us.
we did.
And you know, being in the kitchen and making things come out, it can be a little stressful, but it's kind of that fun kind of
Yeah.
stress to make sure everything comes out right. Now look what we've got. Now I know you don't want any more heat,
I'm good.
but I'm gonna
That's
come
right.
back with
You like your
me
heat.
just a little. You sure don't want a little bit?
I'm perfect.
All right. So we put some queso and some chipotle mayonnaise, some cheese, and some diced tomatoes. I want you to try it first.
I'm excited.
We put them in the oven for what, about 5 or 6 minutes
Crisp it
on
up.
350. Just crisp them up just a little bit. There's your big
Got a
bite.
mess.
Is it good? Mm-hmm. I gotta try a bite right
Wow.
here. You know, those shrimp are fresh and delicious.
That's
A
really
little bit of lobster going in there.
Oh,
a
that's
little bit
good.
crunchy lettuce.
It's nice and hot too.
And all those flavors.
Yeah, treat
I'm gonna
yourself.
take a huge bite.
What do you think? Oh, it's good. Really good.
I could eat all that
I bet you will.
and more.
We can make more.
And we have soup. Don't forget our taco soup.
I can't wait to try that. You put a little
You want
sour
to mix
cream?
that sour cream in there?
Yeah, I want some
All
sour
right, I'm gonna mix that all up in there. I'm gonna get me a big old jalapeno in there.
Ooh, it's
Got
cheesy
the
too.
cheese melting.
Oh, wow. I could eat that forever. That's delicious.
That's really good.
Yes, it is. That was hot. You
If
got a
I do
hot
say
bite?
so myself.
You got a hot bite?
Well, I'll put a jalapeno in mine. You want a jalapeno in
No,
yours?
I'm good. I'm good.
So what if I walked in the kitchen and said, "How, Priscilla? Why don't you fix me a peanut butter and banana cake?" What would you say?
Okay.
I would like to try some of your cake, baby.
Alrighty.
Ow.
And I love this cake because it's easy. Don't have to have a mix or anything. You just stir it with a spoon. It's a simple cake.
And it's really good.
You love it. You do. And all I have here is 2 cups of flour,
All-purpose flour.
That's right.
Unless we state otherwise.
1.5 cups of sugar.
Yep.
I'm just going to put it all together and mix it up.
All right.
Teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of cinnamon,
Yum.
teaspoon of vanilla.
Is that real vanilla?
Yes, it is. Doesn't have to be, but yes, it is. Teaspoon and a half of baking soda. 3/4 cup of olive oil or
Yes.
vegetable oil or whatever you want to use.
We don't use vegetable oil anymore. That's just us.
And 2 eggs.
It's just amazing how that turns into something so wonderful.
That you love.
Nikki says, well, this cake is too sweet. I'm like, how can a cake be too sweet?
It's never too sweet for you, is it?
Oh, that's the whole point.
Now, instead of,
There's and downers, baby.
that's right.
Ow.
Instead of the apples, I think it was 4 apples in hers, we're going to do 3 bananas. How's that sound?
Now, if you didn't see our apple cake, we had a question and answer session like I talked about earlier, and somebody said, what's your favorite thing she's ever made? Well, that's hard to choose because she makes a lot of stuff. When she made her apple cake that her grandmother made years ago, and we made it at the cabin, I think we did it in a Dutch oven.
We did.
It was fantabulous.
You ate the whole thing.
I did.
All right, I'm going to get my old-fashioned tool out here.
And then I said, thank you very much.
That's right. I love using this. It's going to chop up my bananas. This is kind of my new favorite tool.
It's just magic.
You love it. All right. I got me a little square pan here, 9x9, and I've just put a little grease in there, a little spray oil. I'll actually spray olive oil again. And I'm just going to put this all in.
Now, here's the interesting thing. When we are coming up with recipes, some of them are just out of the ether. And when we started working on this, we tried different things, different combinations. You know, we tried some nanner pudding and this and that and the other. We ended up with this because we like this the best. What happens during that experimentation?
You have a lot of stuff to
Why am I
sample.
sucking in right now?
That's right.
Because I was eating a lot of cake. All of it was good.
Yeah.
But this one was extraordinary.
Look how thick this is. That's what I think makes it so good. This is gonna go for 50 minutes at 350.
50 minutes at 350.
And I got the oven ready if you wanna open it. Let's throw it in.
All right. I want you to look at that cake. And what a unique look it has. It's just the texture, to me, it's just the perfect cake.
Now see, I just put powdered sugar on that and eat it sweet enough, but you gotta have it sweeter, don't you?
Just make your wonderful, beautiful peanut butter niner icing. All right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right, and I
got excited.
I discussed this with Debbie, of course, because Debbie is the queen of the icing, I think she is.
And Debbie's my sister.
That's right, Debbie knows everything. So we talked about how could we make this wonderful, it's usually chocolate fudge icing into peanut butter. So I took her recipe, which is a stick of butter, which is half cup of butter.
Butter.
Butter, you gotta have butter. And we thought, well, let's add half a cup of peanut butter to that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's gonna give us our peanut butter.
Double butter.
Teaspoon of vanilla.
Vanilla.
Let's go ahead and mix that up.
And mix
Push
it
that
up?
down. Yep, let's go ahead and mix that together. Let's get it all beautiful. All right, so that's mixed pretty good. This is 2 cups of powdered sugar.
All right.
And we're just gonna add that to our peanut butter and butter mix.
Let me scrape it out for you.
Just a little bit at a time, because it'll blow all over the place.
Say
If
when.
it does, it'll be your fault. That's right, just put a little at a time. Perfect.
That's a baby avalanche.
Yeah, see, you're doing good. 2 tablespoons of half and half.
All
Debbie
right.
says she uses milk, and I didn't have milk the other day, so I did half and half, and it turned out pretty good.
You didn't have what?
Milk. Make fun of my Milka.
M-E-L-K?
Yeah. And there we go. Let's just let that go. We're gonna let it go real. Let's let it really mix now.
Looks
There
good
you
to
go.
me.
It's good.
It's already got that wonderful, whippy,
Yummy.
buttery smell.
And this cake is, we got it out, and it's been sitting for an hour. Now we did the other day ice it early because you like it, and it melted in, but it was still good. But I think if you let it sit, it might be a little better. Look how thick this is.
Oh,
You want all of it, don't you?
well,
What do you think?
within reason. Let me spread it.
Go ahead with the spoon if you want to do that.
Can I use that?
You can. All right, this is one piece for you to try. Now you've had a whole cake already, so I'm thinking we'll share with our friends, Will and Leanne. Let them have this because I have another one. Can you share? You don't need 3 cakes, do you? Okay.
I gotta just tell you, all night long, I've been sucking in.
Okay.
Here's what happens when Nikki fixes cake. I showed you this earlier.
That's okay though.
After?
That's all right.
Before.
That's okay.
After.
All right.
You try it.
Well, because you're the one that loves it. Go ahead.
Look at that. And now, if you could smell it, if you could just understand what's going on here, it's kind of amazing. I'm trying to get icing and cake. Oh.
I know you love that. I love the icing. That's a sweet cake.
When those flavors combine, when you really start getting all that peanut
Oh, yeah.
and the nanner together, it makes you start talking like this. And just like that, Mrs. Farmer, we've got like the best cake in the world right here.
We do.
But, alas, our 30 minutes is up. You know what that means?
What?
That means people might see this and say, Mrs. Farmer, where can I find your recipes? What would you say?
They do that every week. I say timfarmerscountrykitchen.com.
And then, after that, if they go look and see those gazillions of recipes, maybe they want to chat.
Right.
Maybe they want to talk.
Right.
As long as they're nice, we'll talk with them too. But if they said to you, Mrs. Farmer, how do I get on your Facebook page? What would you say?
I say hit like.
That's all?
That's it.
Well, they can be our Facebook friend.
That's right.
That being said, it's time to hush. And I'm going to eat that whole piece.
Okay.
And before we take it to somebody else, I ought to level that side out.
Just so it looks better.
Yeah, just give them that.
But you are going to share. That's nice.
Yes, I'm going to share.
Okay.
Because it's all about
Good times.
good friends.
Really good eats.
We'll see you next week with a brand new Farmer's Kitchen.
Woohoo.
We're the farmers, and this is our kitchen.
You going to eat the cake?
Yes, I am.